Think your brain's broken? It's not. Your attention span is just under attack, but it can be fixed. In a world full of distractions, staying focused feels impossible. But what if you could take back control? Imagine having laser-sharp focus while everyone else is scattered. The secret? It's simpler than you think, and I'm about to show you how. Ever notice how hard it's becoming to stay focused for more than a few minutes? Shorter attention spans are wreaking havoc on our ability to perform well, whether it's on a test, a work project, or even just trying to have a meaningful conversation. When we can't hold our attention for long enough, not only does the quality of our work suffer, but it also messes with how well we retain information in the long run. Think of it as a muscle. If we don't exercise it, it weakens, and once that happens, we're in trouble. But attention span isn't just about acing exams or doing well in school. It plays a massive role in everything from personal growth to self-improvement. When your focus is sharp, you're not just handling tasks, you're mastering them. That means better results in your job, your relationships, and even your mental well-being. This isn't about being a multitasking machine. It's about deep, meaningful focus on what really matters in your life. It's a key ingredient for personal success. Let's be honest, without a good attention span, it's easy to spiral into anxiety and depression. The constant switching between tasks leaves us feeling scattered and overwhelmed. We end up stuck in a loop, never fully present, always distracted, and chasing after things that don't really matter. Regaining control of our focus is essential for more than just productivity. It's about protecting our mental health and fostering personal development. The good news? It's not all doom and gloom. There are proven ways to stretch and strengthen your attention span again, allowing you to take back control. Want to know how? Let's explore some practical examples in the next section, where I'll share how I've personally dealt with this challenge. When I look back at my own achievements, from being valedictorian to winning tennis championships, one thing stands out: focus. I wasn't necessarily smarter or more talented than the people around me, but I had something many didn't: discipline to maintain my attention span. Whether it was on the court or in the classroom, I knew how to block out distractions and zero in on what mattered most at the moment. I remember countless hours spent practicing serves and volleys, but what really made the difference was my ability to stay mentally present during those moments. It's not just about physical training. The mental game is half the battle. When I studied for exams, I approached it the same way, dedicating time to focus on one subject at a time. That focus helped me absorb material better, retain information longer, and ultimately perform well. But hey, this isn't some I was born with it kind of thing. Maintaining focus was something I had to actively work on, day in and day out. There were times I wanted to check my phone or do anything other than study or practice, but having that discipline made all the difference. It was my secret weapon, and I'm convinced it's why I succeeded where others struggled. If focus can propel someone in academics and sports, imagine what it could do for personal development, self-improvement, or even mastering Stoic principle. Best part? Anyone can train their attention span. It's just a matter of knowing where to start. And in the next section, we'll dive into that mindset shift that changed everything for me. It's easy to point fingers at social media and technology for our attention struggles. You hear it all the time, right? Social media is ruining our brains. While it's true that tech plays a part, blaming it entirely isn't productive. The real issue lies in how we react to these distractions. Instead of focusing on what we can't control, like the endless notifications or the algorithms designed to hook us, let's take a step back and think about how we can control our reaction. This is where self-knowledge and discipline come into play. Think of it this way: technology isn't going anywhere. Social media, notifications, emails, they're all part of modern life. So instead of fighting them, why not focus on changing how you interact with them? By developing personal growth strategies, like setting boundaries or creating digital detox moments, you can regain control of your attention. Proactivity is key here. If you take the reins, you'll see massive improvements not just in your focus, but in your overall mental well-being too. It's a mindset shift that falls in line with philosophies like Stoicism and Essentialism. Rather than blaming external factors for your lack of focus, Shift the responsibility inward. How can you cultivate more self-control? How can you react less to distractions and be more intentional with your time? These are the questions that lead to real, sustainable self-improvement. So what's the first step to taking back control? Start by being mindful of your habits around tech and distractions. In the next section, we'll dive into the specific tech habits you should avoid to begin optimizing your existence. Ready for a practical game plan? Let's get into it. Let's be honest, we've all fallen into the trap of having a bunch of tabs open while trying to focus on one task. You think you're being productive. Really, you're just setting yourself up for distraction. Multitasking might seem like a time saver, but it's one of the biggest attention span killers. Your brain can't handle jumping from one thing to the next without losing focus. So the first habit to kick, close those extra tabs and dedicate your attention to one thing at a time. It's not just about tabs though. Notifications? They're another sneaky culprit. Whether it's your phone lighting up with social media updates or random emails pinging your inbox, they steal your focus every time you glance at them. Turning off notifications when you're working or studying is a small step that makes a big difference. This is all about digital minimalism, stripping away the distractions so you can focus on what really matters. Another habit to ditch, keeping your phone within arm's reach during important tasks. Trust me, it's a recipe for disaster. Even if you don't check it, just knowing it's there makes it harder to stay focused. This is where the concept of a digital detox comes in, creating intentional breaks from your devices. Start by creating no phone zones or times during the day when you disconnect completely. These might seem like simple tweaks, but the impact on your attention span is huge. By eliminating these bad tech habits, you create more space for deep focus and personal development. Up next, let's talk about one of the most powerful moves you can make: establishing no phone zones. It might sound small, but it can have a big effect on your mental well-being and focus. Creating no phone zones is a game changer when it comes to improving your attention span. Think about it. We bring our phones everywhere, into the bedroom, the bathroom, the dinner table. But these are the spaces where we should be fully present, not distracted. Establishing zones where your phone is completely off limits helps you reclaim those moments for yourself. Start with places like the bedroom. When you leave your phone out of reach, your mind gets a break, and your focus can shift to more meaningful activities like reading or having a real conversation. One of the most impactful no-phone zones? The dinner table. We've all been guilty of scrolling through social media while eating, but it's a habit worth breaking. By keeping your phone away during meals, you create space for connection and mindfulness. You'll find that being present in those small moments can lead to improved mental well-being and even better digestion. It's all part of that personal growth journey, learning to prioritize what truly matters over the endless stream of notifications. Bathroom is another place where we've gotten way too comfortable bringing our phones. Become a reflex, right? But what if you use that time for a quick mental reset instead? Giving your mind a break, even for a few minutes, can improve focus when you return to your task. It's about training yourself to be more present and intentional, even in the smallest pockets of your day. These no-phone zones aren't just about avoiding distractions. They're about taking back control of your attention and optimizing your existence. Trust me, once you start, you'll notice how much clearer and more focused your mind feels. Ready to level up even more? In the next section, we'll cover how to handle distractions when they pop up, without losing your momentum. Let's face it, distractions are going to happen. You're deep into a project and suddenly you remember something random, like needing to reply to an email or check a notification. Instead of letting that thought derail you, try deferring the distraction. What does that mean? Simple. Jot it down and promise yourself you'll handle it later. This little trick keeps your focus intact while acknowledging that, yes, the distraction exists, but it doesn't need your immediate attention. Deferring distractions is a form of proactivity that gives you control over your time. Instead of stopping what you're doing to handle every little thing that pops into your mind, you create a plan to address it later. It's a method of prioritizing your current task over the flood of distraction. and it works wonders for your attention span. Plus, it's incredibly satisfying to check off those small tasks once you've finished what you were originally focusing on. Think about it like this. Distractions are like little mental hiccups. They're inevitable, but they don't have to throw you off track. By writing them down and promising to return to them later, keep your momentum going. This approach not only improves your focus, but also reduces anxiety. You know you'll get to those distractions eventually, so there's no need to stress over them right now. Ready to take control over distractions in your life? Start practicing this today. Keep a notebook or note app handy while working, and make it a habit to jot down distractions as they come. In the next section, we'll dive into the myth of multitasking and why it's actually harming your ability to focus. Trust me, this one's a biggie. We've all been there, thinking we can juggle multiple tasks at once, feeling like productivity heroes. But here's the truth. Multitasking is a myth. It doesn't make you more efficient. It actually damages your ability to focus. When you try to handle multiple things at the same time, your brain is constantly switching between tasks, and that mental switching cost adds up. Instead of doing everything well, you end up doing everything halfway. Multitasking isn't just bad for your focus. It's also bad for your mental well-being. Studies show that people who multitask more frequently tend to feel more anxious and stressed. That's because your brain can't fully relax or dive deep into any one task when it's constantly being interrupted. So if you're serious about self-improvement and personal growth, cutting out multitasking is a great place to start. Focus on one task at a time and watch your productivity and mental clarity skyrocket. Think about it. When was the last time you felt fully immersed in a single task? It's a rare feeling these days, but when you get there, it's like being in the zone. That state of flow where you're so engaged in what you're doing that time seems to fly by. Multitasking robs you of that experience. Instead, by focusing on one thing at a time, you allow yourself to enter that deep, focused state where your best work happens. Ready to ditch the multitasking mindset? In the next section, we'll explore how consuming long-form content can actually train your brain to focus better. Curious about how this works? Keep reading to find out. In a world full of bite-sized videos and quick posts, consuming long-form content might seem outdated, but it's one of the best ways to train your brain to focus. Watching longer videos, listening to in-depth podcasts, or diving into a good book forces you to stay engaged for a longer period. It's like a workout for your attention span, stretching it out and making it stronger over time. The more you expose yourself to long-form content, the more comfortable you become with focusing for extended periods. Reading books, for example, requires sustained concentration, especially if they're dense with philosophy, psychology, or self-development ideas. Authors like Nietzsche, Schopenhauer, or Marco Aurelio aren't exactly light reading, but they challenge your brain to think deeply, making it stronger in the process. As you dive deeper into their thoughts on existentialism, stoicism, and personal growth, your ability to focus grows. Plus, the insights you gain from these texts, pure gold for your self-knowledge and self-improvement journey. Long-form content also provides a richer, more immersive experience than quick social media posts. Podcast that lasts an hour can unpack concepts and stories that would be impossible to grasp in a 30-second clip. These longer formats allow you to explore topics like digital minimalism, dopamine fasting, and how to improve social skills with depth and clarity. By focusing on this type of content, you're training your mind to process and retain more meaningful information. Ready to take the plunge into long-form content? Start with something that sparks your curiosity and commit to finishing it. In the next section, we'll talk about how practicing mindfulness can further enhance your focus and attention. Trust me, it's easier and more rewarding than you think. Mindfulness might sound like a buzzword these days, but it's actually a powerful tool to strengthen your focus. It's all about being fully present in the moment, whether you're doing something as simple as drinking your morning coffee or walking outside. Instead of reaching for your phone out of boredom, try practicing mindfulness. Tune into your surroundings, notice the details, and let yourself become absorbed in what's happening around you. This kind of intentional presence naturally sharpens your attention span over time. One easy way to start practicing mindfulness is by turning everyday moments into mini focus exercises. For example, when you're eating, really focus on the taste and texture of the food. When you're walking, pay attention to the rhythm of your steps or the sounds around you. These small moments of mindfulness help break the habit of reaching for your phone every time you feel a little bored. Over time, they teach your brain to focus better and stay in the present, improving both your attention and mental well-being. Another mindfulness hack? Try a bit of breathing meditation, especially when you feel your attention starting to drift. Just a few deep breaths can help center your mind and bring you back to the task at hand. The simple, yet powerful way to stay grounded in moments of distraction. And unlike social media, mindfulness doesn't drain your mental energy, it replenishes it. The more you practice it, the easier it becomes to stay focused on what matters most. Mindfulness isn't about perfection, it's about progress. And as you become more present in your daily life, you'll notice how much better you're able to focus on everything from personal growth to essentialism. Up next, I'll lay out an action plan to help you start improving your attention span today. Ready to take some concrete steps? Let's go. Now that you've got the tools, let's talk action. Improving your attention span doesn't mean overhauling your entire life overnight. In fact, the best approach is to start small and be consistent. From the list of strategies we've covered, like deferring distractions, consuming long-form content, practicing mindfulness, choose 2 habits to focus on for now. Don't try to change everything at once. Focus on progress, not perfection. For example, you could start by creating a no-phone zone in your bedroom and practicing mindfulness during your morning routine. This way, you're easing into new habits without overwhelming yourself. Each small step builds momentum, and before you know it, these actions will become second nature. And the best part? These habits won't just improve your attention span, they'll boost your self-improvement journey across the board. Once you've mastered your first 2 habits, add another. Maybe you start consuming more long-form content by reading a book or listening to an in-depth podcast once a week. The key is to layer these habits gradually so you can sustain them long-term. Remember, personal development is a marathon, not a sprint. You're in it for the long haul, so take your time and stay consistent. So what's next? Pick 2 habits, start implementing them today, and watch as your attention span and mental clarity improve. The journey to personal success and mental well-being begins with small, intentional actions. Ready to start optimizing your existence? Results will speak for themselves.